Welcome to day 28 of the 30-day wholesaling challenge. And today is all about how to wholesale houses part-time. So if you're working a job or you're working a 9 to 5 and you can't spend all of your time wholesaling real estate and you want to learn how to do it on the side or maybe when you have other priorities, this is going to be the video for you. If you're a single mom or you're at home right now with the kids and you want to learn, maybe you got 10, 15 hours or even less for wholesaling real estate, how you can effectively still get your first wholesaling deal and have success. Coming from somebody that got the first wholesaling deal while having a job,
and me having a full-time job,
we know a thing or two about going out here and wholesaling houses part-time. And what we want to do today is give you an action plan for wholesaling real estate success. So before we break it down, before we give you the entire day 28 presentation, do us a favor, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and let's get into it.
So guys, talking to you as a person who had a full-time corporate job, mortgages, small children, and a wife, I know all about the issues you have to deal with when you're looking to switch careers. So one of the things me and Zach always suggest, and the way I did it, and Zach somewhat did it, is I actually started in wholesaling part-time. Now, I don't want you to misconstrue. The word part-time means you're putting your full-time effort into your part-time and keeping your other job going so you can meet certain family obligations, so you have time to breathe and cover your obligations. So doing it part-time just comes down to you prioritizing your time allotment. And this is where you're going to have to be laser focused on it. Because the reality is, listen, when you're sitting at work, most people, if they put 2 hours of quality work in, that's a stretch. So we all have the same 24 hours. So when you get off at 5 or 6, whatever it is, you really have a 3 to 4 hour window. It doesn't mean you have to kill yourself for 3 to 4 hours, but 2 to 3 hours of highly concentrated work, well, more than catapult you into getting started in this business. The key is it's got to be completely dedicated, laser focused, full-time work while you're doing your part-time thing. And don't forget about weekends, guys. Saturday should be a wide open day for you to meet with sellers, to do all your follow-ups. And don't forget about Sunday. Listen, we all have the same amount of time. If you can prioritize your time, you can easily do wholesaling part-time to get yourself going.
So this is what we're talking about today. When you're wholesaling houses part-time, your highest priority has to be getting the best use out of your time. So this means we're gonna have to do our marketing in the best use of our time. We can't dilly-daddle. We can't go out here and do marketing tactics that take forever and a lot of effort to do. We gotta do the ones where when I spend an hour, I'm gonna get the best chance of getting a deal from doing this. And these are the strategies we're talking about today. Now, if you got no money in wholesaling real estate and you're doing this part-time, I know a lot of people, they're struggling to make ends meet and they have some time, but not a lot of money. I would say first and foremost, especially when you're wholesaling part-time, I would probably cold call the government lists. And the reason why I say cold calling is number one, it's free. You get free skip tracing. You just smile and dial and you get in front of these sellers and you get to work. These government lists you can get from the government absolutely for free. The water shutoffs, code violations, probates, tax delinquencies, tax liens. The list goes on and on forever. These are free lists you can get right now starting out. On top of that too, you probably have a phone and you can actually text motivate sellers from your phone. I know you don't have to spend a crazy amount of money on a text blasting service. You can just send texts from your phone. I implore you, if you send 20 to 30 a day, you're not going to get spammed. You're not going to have any issues. And really 30 texts a day for 30 days is almost 900 and heck, even 1,000 texts every single month. It just gets you closer to your goal for wholesaling success. Now, if you have a car and you can reverse drive for dollars, I would 100% recommend that and drive for dollars. Make sure you rewatch day 10 of the Driving for Dollars video on 30-day wholesaling challenge. But it's another great strategy if you already have gas in your car and you can just go after it. But if you're not, text and cold call for free from the strategies we talked about at freewholesaling.com.
Okay, so another technique you can work in this is simply by getting a list of FSBO, and particularly off like Zillow. So FSBO just stands for for sale by owner. Now, good news is it's a free list. You got the phone number, you got the seller's information, you got even property pictures and price. What you have to understand is you're going to have to put a lot of time into this. So this is going to be a quantity game. So the more phone calls you make, the greater your odds go up in doing a deal. This is not the type of list you're going to make 10 phone calls, honestly, not even 100 100. You have to get through it till you find and locate a motivated seller. And it's not how many calls you're going to make. It's how dedicated are you to getting through, setting a certain amount of time per day and just ripping through the phone calls. I like FSBOs, but it is a quantity game and you have to understand it going into it. You need to 10x whatever you're thinking about doing because that's what it's going to take for FSBOs. Now, it's completely doable. It doesn't really cost you any money, but it is going to take a certain amount of time. And this is where you're going to have to prioritize your time, especially doing this on a part-time basis.
On top of that too, you got no time, or if you got not much money, you can also JV deals. So if you already have some cash buyers set out, I would 100% recommend when you're part-time wholesaling, find people that are struggling to sell their deals and just JV with them. It's a great opportunity to start getting great JV deals and just making money with no money at all. Now, if you got some money in wholesaling, you can pour a little bit into marketing, keep cold calling the government list, maybe start doing some skip tracing, heck, maybe even gain some of your marketing output and maybe do some listrei.com lists, the vacants, tired landlords, and the other great lists they have there. This is when you have some more money. I would probably add in reverse drawing for dollars too, and more drawing for dollars, like getting the gas money and just getting to work. Heck, we know so many beginner wholesalers out here that they can't work at all. Monday through Friday, there's no wholesaling they can basically do, maybe for like 30 minutes to an hour. But what they do instead is they spend the weekends, 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours Sunday, just driving and reverse drawing for dollars, regular ugly looking houses, and reverse drawing for dollars the government lists, the probates, code violations, fire tax delinquency lists, and getting great wholesaling deals. Heck, 4 hours and cold calling that list too. That's enough to get a wholesaling deal.
So 2 other techniques we can kind of mention is we can talk about doing probate mailers. And why I say probate mailers, they are perfect for you in doing this part-time because it's not a giant list and it's not a list that's going to cost you a ton of money. Honestly, most leads are between 50 and 75 in a month, and that's 50 to 75 letters. And we teach you all on how to do that in freewholesaling.com, but you can consistently do it. And here's a really cool part is you're just going to get a few phone calls back. So the only thing you got to make an exception for is someone's got to answer those calls live. So if you can't do it while you're at work, have your partner do it, have a family member who's ever helping you out with the phones. That's the key on that. Another technique is simply doing SMS text blasting. And why I like this, because it's an economies of scale. One individual person can easily scale this out and you are able to manage your time. Now, I wouldn't wait too long to get back with these leads because the goal is to convert them from text to via phone, but you can time it. So if you know you're getting off work, you can send out the test blast and then you got 2 to 3 hours to do your follow-up. The key is you can control your time. And if you know how to manage your time properly and you allot it correctly, you can easily do both these techniques part-time. And honestly, it's one of the easiest ways to get started in this business.
Exactly. And if you want to start SMS text blasting, I 100% recommend when you're pouring some money into it, do something like smsac.com so your marketing dollars go the furthest. Now, in regular wholesaling real estate, full-time wholesaling real estate, wholesaling houses part-time, there's one consistent message I have to pour to you guys and just hammer it home. But the man or woman that consistently markets and consistently talks to motivated sellers will win. Remember this, I always get asked, Zach, Rick, how many calls do I have to do to make a deal? How many texts do I have to send out to get a deal? The honest truth here is the more sellers you talk to, the better. Yes, maybe it takes you 10,000 calls to get a deal. Maybe it takes you 4 calls to get a deal. Statistically, anywhere between 500 to 3,000 calls might get you a deal. Sometimes it's as low as 400 for texting and trying for dollars. Honestly, the highest quality sellers you can talk to with the most motivation, the most conversations are going to land you the most deals. I can't guarantee how many calls are going to get you a deal, but I can guarantee you if you consistently pull leads, consistently have a high enough volume of calling, at least dedicating 5-10 hours every single week to get to texting, calling, reverse drawing for dollars, probate mailers, whatever it is, that will land you a deal. If you need to dedicate yourself at least 5 to 10 hours a week in wholesaling and marketing wise to get a deal. So if you're serious about this wholesaling part-time, you're going to have to dedicate at minimum 5 hours. And you might say, Zach, I don't have 5 hours. I hate to say this. I know this sounds arrogant to say, but find the time. Either you find the time or the time finds you.
So let's simplify this. If we all sleep on an average of 8 hours, a lot of us a lot more, some a lot less, is if you just cut out 1 hour of sleep I just gave you 7 hours for the week, and that easily gives you the time to do it. It's a question is how bad do you want it, and are you going to make time for it? If the answer is I want it bad and this is the only way I can get started, then make the time. We all get the exact same amount of time. It just comes down to people's commitments. If you make the commitment, you'll make the time, and you can easily get started and transition to wholesaling if you want to go the part-time route.
So let me give you a couple of action plan guides to get started in part-time wholesaling. So now if you only have, let's say 10 hours a week to wholesale houses, you work a regular part-time job, this would be my action plan guide. From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on like a Saturday, I would say you should do some drawing for dollars and reverse drawing for dollars. 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on a Monday, maybe you're going to cold call hard. Now, it depends where, if you're doing virtual or not. Maybe 5 to 7 p.m. you're going to cold call those leads. And then you cold call on like Sunday, another 5 to 7 or 5 to 8 to figure it out. I probably want to cold call past 8 p.m. But if you're cold calling at 10 p.m. on the East Coast and you're cold calling sellers on the West Coast, you can make that happen. But I would dedicate at least 5 hours to cold calling, 3 hours to drawing for dollars, reverse drawing for dollars, cold calling government lists and pulling lists, another 2 hours on pulling cash buyers and talking and following up with your sellers.
So once again, to keep this simple is if you took and say you could give 15 hours to wholesaling per week on your part-time schedule, just break down this simple formula, which is the 3-3-1 approach, which means if you had a total of 7 hours, you would take 3 hours to marketing, 3 hours to acquisitions. That's talking to sellers and communicating and running contracts, and then an hour on dispositions with a heavy focus on collecting cash buyers. Now, it's not a set rule, but the reality is you're going to spend a lot more time on marketing and acquisitions than you are on dispositions. We find the 3-3-1 rule gives you a good guideline on how to manage your time so you are getting the best bang for your buck.
Yeah. And so you're working 20 hours, 30 hours, 40 hours, how many hours you're working this business, just focus on that 3-3-1 approach for your time. And that's the best action plan I could give to you. Now, if you want to figure out what's the best list, best marketing channels, everything like that, or how to drive for dollars, reverse drive for dollars, cold call, whatever we say, just go to free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, and I'll land you the exact game plan for you to start wholesaling houses part-time. Now, if you got any value from this video, do us a big favor. Make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and we'll see you later. This is Zach In signing out.
Rick In signing out.
Have a blessed one.
See you guys.